Buddy Justin here, and well, I have an unboxing and a product review for you on a new Shimano spinning reel. Like I said, I have a product review for you guys and a quick little unboxing of the Shimano Nexave, however you want to say it. This is, I think, the second generation or third generation of it here in the US. It's been available in Australia and the Asian market for a while. We don't get to have a whole bunch of the different gear ratios like the Asian market has. Like in particular, this size reel comes in two different gear ratios. Here in the States, we get the fast 6.2 to 1. In Asia, you get the choice either the high gear, which is this guy, or the slower, which is like 5.0 to 1 gear ratio. So let's dig into the box, and then I'll go over the features on this reel, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this reel after using it literally all spring as my travel reel when I'm on the road working. I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this box. Let's see basically what you get in here. It's not a lot. So it's gonna come wrapped up in a bag. You're gonna have your manuals and your parts diagrams, which are really nice to have. So we have that. There's nothing else that comes in the box, which is pretty common on these lower end or these lower price point Shimano reels. So you have a collapsible handle. You do have an anti-reverse switch as well. Go ahead and lock that handle down for us. As you can see, I already got it filled up, but I've been fishing with it now for, I want to say, probably about 3 months or so. So I've had a lot of time to play with this reel and see if there's any major flaws in this design. And honestly, I cannot see anything glaring that would make me think that this reel is going to be a bad buy for anyone. So let's get into the features and why I've kind of dubbed this reel the Pflueger President Killer, and why I think this is probably the best reel on the market for under $50. Normally I review a lot of higher end reels. I figured for once maybe I'd drop down and check out some of these lower price point reels, and I was pleasantly surprised. So let's get into the features. So first up on the box, you'll actually see that 6.2 to 1 gear ratio, which I've already said numerous times. It has 9 pounds of drags, which is respectable for a 25 size reel for the freshwater market, but it also at 9 pounds of drag, it's going to do a fair job for the guys that are fishing smaller redfish and your trout, your yellow mouse and your gray trout on the inshore. The reel weighs 9 ounces, so it's a little heavy, but that's generally what you get at these lower price points. They tend to be a little heavier, a little bulkier, where like say the Stradic CI4, it weighs like 6 ounces and perfectly balanced, and yeah, it's my favorite reel. It's got 3 steel ball bearings plus 1 in the roller. With the 6.2 to 1 gear ratio though, this does pick up line very, very quick. You're going to get about 35 inches per turn. So if you're, say you're spy baiting with this reel, which is perfectly within its realm and capabilities, you're going to have to make sure that you naturally slow yourself down a little bit on this. So keep that in mind when you're fishing it, or you're fishing a grub or something that you want to slow down. You have to consciously slow your retrieve down a little bit, because this is a pretty fast reel for this price point. Now, one premium feature that this reel has is their variable speed system. What is the variable speed system? So there's an oscillating gear inside this reel, and essentially that affects the travel of the spool up and down. And if you watch really closely, you'll see that this reel picks up speed and slows down, picks up speed, slows down on the upstroke and the bottom stroke of the spool. And what that does is it's going to allow this line to sit nice and level on the reel. As you can see, that line is perfectly level, and I have literally fished with this for 3 months, and it's not lopsided. It's not built up on the bottom. It's not built up on the top. The variable speed system from Shimano is absolutely awesome. It's been around for a long, long time. It's a reliable system that they basically put in almost all their reels now. It's just a standard feature, and I really, really like that they have done that. So the next feature that I want to go over is the Super Stopper 2. So what is Super Stopper 2? Super Stopper 2 is a roller bearing that's placed within the reel that actually stops this handle from going backwards, okay? So at a $50 price point, years ago, everything had a little bit of slop, a little bit of play in it. Just was not nice, and it did cause some premature wearing and breaking down of the reel. But what's nice is that this is just rock solid. Can't beat it. Classic Shimano feature. The next feature I want to go over is the Dino Balance. What is Dino Balance? Well, Dino Balance deals with that thing spinning around right there. Think of this as balancing your tire on your car. So what happens with a rotor, because they have the roller up here, the rotor ends up being a little off balance. So what they do is they literally use digital technology to balance the weight on the other side of the rotor here, so that you don't have any wobble, you don't have any shimmy in that spool, so it's nice and smooth feeling when it goes around. So if you ever pick up a reel and it feels like it's kind of womping as you turn the handle, it's not in balance. And that's how some lesser reels feel like junk out there in the market. That's one of the ways Shimano makes all their reels, all their spinning reels, feel tremendously good in your hand when you turn them. They're one of the few companies that I know that literally top to bottom throughout their entire price point and catalog, everything is literally balanced very, very well. So this next feature that I want to tell you about, I'm going to take the spool off to kind of show this, be a little easier. It is the Propulsion line management. What that essentially is to you, the angler, is essentially telling you about this lip that is here on the spool, okay? That lip, because of the way it's designed, when this line comes off, it comes off cleaner, and it has a lot less friction or line slap on the spool. So when you reduce that, you're actually increasing the angler's casting distance. This is a feature that has really only been available in the old Symmetry, Sahara as of late, the Stratics, the Sustains, the Stellas, all the way up the line. This is stuff that's been available there, but they've brought this down into the Nexave reel. A couple other things I want to point out on the reel is that it is actually really nicely machined as well, and cleaned up, and just, I love the navy anodizing on this. It looks really, really sharp. So, but that is the Propulsion line management system on the Nexave. Now the next feature on this reel is the power roller. Earlier in the video I did kind of allude to what a roller bearing is, and Shimano calls that their power roller, and that's just a really fancy way of saying that their pivot point is going to roll and spin with the line, which just makes it nice. It reduces line twist, so when you have a fish pulling drag, it's not twisting that line as it's coming off the spool. As bad as, say, something that doesn't have, just has like a bushing there or something. They're claiming, I believe, it reduces it by about 50%. So that is a really, really nice thing and nice feature to have on these lower end reels. So second to last thing that I want to point out that I find to be really nice on this price point reel that you don't normally see is actually how the clicker is on this reel. As you can see, there is no springs at all underneath there to come loose. So, oh, there's a spring, but it's in there in such a way that it's not coming out, it's not in the way. And then when that little needle right there rotates around, it's going to actually click on this white gear here, and that is what makes the sound of your drag, which quite honestly sounds really good to me. So the last thing I want to point out on this reel is actually the framing and the body of this reel. If you're familiar with other reels in the Shimano lineup, you are probably aware of that skeletal style framing, that minimalist frame design that they've begun to use in their higher end reels, and they brought that down into the Nexave, which is a big plus to me. And one thing that I am happy to see still, and that's probably because of a little bit of the old schoolness that I'm used to, is you have an anti-reverse switch. It's not necessarily the easiest to get to, which is a good thing. It's very stiff, which is another good thing. It doesn't accidentally come on and off really easy. But what's nice about having an anti-reverse switch is that, say you have a very large fish next to the boat and you've been fighting them for a long time and your line is really taking a beating, instead of necessarily relying on the drag, you can actually, as a fish pulls outline, you can keep up with them and take a little bit of the load off your drag and off your line. It's not really a big issue anymore for the most people, just because the quality of the gear has gotten so good. A lot of companies are starting to take it away because it's really not a feature that guys use or know how to use anymore. But it is something that I do go to occasionally, especially when I got a big smallmouth, you know, a 5-6 pounder outside when I'm drop shotting, and he's really got that rod loaded up and he's dogging next to the side of the boat. If I have the chance, I flip that on and I begin to back reel that fish next to the boat. And it's a big reason why I haven't upgraded to the newer version of the Stratic CI4, is because I don't have that feature. And that's something to me personally that I really appreciate having. But a lot of guys don't even care about it or even know how to use it properly. So they don't miss what they don't know. My quick little unboxing and review of the features on the Nexave reel. My overall opinion of this reel is, quite honestly, this is what I'm dubbing when I'm on the road talking to my customers. I've dubbed this the Pflueger President Killer. The Pflueger President basically sells at $59.99. You're going to see this retailing just about everywhere for $49.99. Sometimes a little higher out there, but that's the retailer's choice. And the retailers that have brought this into the store and handed it to their customers, those customers have really liked this reel, and they've come back and bought more from them. Overall, for me, this is a solid offering at the $50 mark. And most people don't review lower end reels, but I think for that high schooler, that junior high kid, or the guy that, you know, just doesn't see putting $200 into a reel and doesn't have the money, if you need a good solid spinning reel and you only got 50 bucks to spend, take a look at the Shimano Nexave. You won't be disappointed. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this review. And as always, click down below, hit that red subscribe button, and ding the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And as always, tight lines, happy casting, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It helps me, it helps the channel, it helps everyone that likes to catch fish.